Those of you who are newer to politics, those of you who are newer to talking about the news of politics, those of you who've been around a long time, I don't mean to bore you with this, but it's always important to remember that there are new generations of people happening across shows like this that don't know this stuff. And I don't mean it disparagingly. I mean, it's just important that people are smart about how they consume their news. And I know most of this audience is already brilliant and well-educated in how to consume news and what to be on watch about, but many of you are newer and may not know when you see headlines like this from Axios. Most Americans see Trump as dangerous dictator, poll says. That's a new story this morning. A majority, you ready for this? A majority of Americans say President Trump is a dangerous dictator who poses a real threat to democracy and believe he's overstepped his authority by actions such as the mass firing of federal employees, a new survey says. This is, again, from Axios. Axios, the outfit who at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, the guy won an award for saying, ironically, media totally covered up Biden's incapacity to lead and his old age and his diminished capacity to even be in a room and talk and offer cogent conversations, that he was totally diminished and wasn't leading. Remember, that guy who writes for Axios won an award this weekend at the White House Correspondents' Dinner for lecturing everybody about how he and most everyone in the room lied to you and covered up for Joe Biden. And now he's written a tell-all book with Jake Tapper about the real scandal inside the Biden White House and how they kept it from you, right? Axios, that guy, where I'm reading right now, this is where he works. So remember when I rhetorically asked the question yesterday, if you listened to the show, we'll see if he means it. Well, this story is proof they don't mean it, at least not as an organization. Now, do you think, sincere question, and I want you to be as candid as you can be here, Ed, Fast Eddie, do you believe, is there any way you can get to, creatively or otherwise, a majority of Americans say Trump is a dangerous dictator? Do you believe a majority of Americans, a majority, that means over 50% of Americans think Trump is a dangerous dictator? Do you believe that? Can you get there?
No. Over 50%, of course not. That's absurd.
Why it matters, they say. The wide-ranging poll. Wide-ranging. Ooh, that means they must have really reached deep. They must have really reached out there. It must have been very scientific and expensive. They must have asked many, many people. On Trump's 100th day in office, it's the latest sign of him losing support for, you ready for this? His immigration and economic policies. Now, I will stipulate that economically speaking, Donald Trump inherited a mess of inflation. I understand, and I completely get it, that there are a good number of you in this audience who are watching your portfolio, who've been watching your investments, and you say to yourself, this sucks. I'm getting really, really tired of losing money in my portfolio, particularly if you're a retired person or you're nearing retirement. That's starting to spook you and scare you. Again, I've had friends that reach out to me and say, you got to do something, Stigall. You're constantly going to Washington, D.C. Why don't you call somebody in the White House and tell them to knock it off? I said, well, even if I could do that, I wouldn't, but I don't have that authority anyway. But I have had people literally say, can you tell somebody at the White House to knock off this tariff stuff? No, I can't. Donald Trump believes in what he's doing. I've written about this at the Harump Society. In fact, I would submit to you, I could get to a place, Steve Moore didn't totally see the math on it, but I could get to a place where the country is in fact funded the way it used to be funded pre-income tax. I asked many members of the House about income tax, and will we see that eliminated entirely? A lot of them would like to get there, may not get there, but Trump's vision is an economy that is propped up by taxing people who bring their goods into this country and driving more people making things here. Simple to understand. But in the short term, that brings economic pain, and I understand that a lot of people don't have a stomach for it. So I'll hear that his popularity may be trailing off with people on the economy, but when it comes to immigration, that is absurd. It is absurd on his face. Donald Trump has won 2 elections now on one issue, and it is sealing the border. It's always been sealing the border. Donald Trump arresting illegal aliens and sending them out of this country, particularly those that have done violent crimes beyond breaking into the country. The Democrats tried to die on the hill of rescuing guys from prisons in El Salvador. Have you noticed this week? Crickets. They're done with that because it was a loser. The American people are with Donald Trump on this immigration policy. It's why they rolled out yesterday, lining the White House drive for the press as they walked in, all the illegal aliens that they arrested who had done violent, awful things, put their pictures and their crimes on posters for the press to see. Most Americans see Trump as dangerous dictator, poll says. Now, for those of you who are new, let me just call your attention to this. This is a poll, and the methodology is of 5,025 adults. And as we talked yesterday, when you sample a random smattering of adults, this could be people who vote, who don't vote, who know nothing, couldn't tell you their rectum from a hole in the ground. This is a phony poll. It's a PSYOP on Trump's 100th day to make you think people aren't with him, particularly in his immigration policy. It's bogus.
The Chris Stigall Show podcast.